Thank you for joining us today on Connect and Collaborate, where we come together each day to introduce you to our network of business and community leaders and to discuss important issues that impact business in Colorado and the region. I'm Tammy Schaefer, your on-air producer, and today we are connecting with Kristen Muzzy with Riveting Connections. Kristen is a champion and advocate for manufacturing in Colorado and nationally, and Kristen leads the manufacturing vertical for the Colorado Business Roundtable. Kristen, it's so great to have you here.
It's great to be here. Happy Friday.
Thank you. Happy Friday to you and all of you out there.
Yes, and we have a great show today. We've got Chris Koehn, senior partner, entrepreneur extraordinaire, and his title actually is the guy that sometimes opens up the front door for ASG Energy, right?
That's right. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Is your office real close to where the doorbell rings? I have that problem. Guess who's not the receptionist, but that's okay.
So we like to highlight unique businesses that are bringing a lot of value and do things differently here in Colorado. But you guys, you're headquartered in San Antonio, but you live here in Colorado. You're a Colorado native, right? You're
yes,
Greenie.
I am.
Thank you. So you qualify to be on the show.
Thank you. I saw that on the door out front, and I very much appreciated that.
Okay. You put your green card
Yeah,
in?
I did. I did the swipe. Yeah.
Awesome. But anyway, so super excited to have Chris here, and I've learned quite a bit about ASG Energy. They want, first of all, ASG Energy is a solutions provider and a manufacturer of LED lighting that is making huge impact in organizations and reducing costs and improving the workplace for productivity and safety, along with IoT, which is super exciting.
Yeah, good stuff.
Yeah, very, very exciting. And what caught my interest initially was there was a LinkedIn post on what the ROI was for one of your clients. I think, Tammy, that is my phone.
Is that your phone?
Yes.
I was wondering if we were getting background music. It's pretty cool.
Sorry, we're live.
That's our theme music.
We are live,
it could have been way worse.
Yeah. Sorry about that, guys. But anyways, Chris, will you tell us a little bit about the history of ASG,
Sure.
what you guys do, and we'll start there because there's a lot to this story.
Yeah, it's a fun story and a good story. We've been very fortunate in the customers that we serve, the companies that we serve, the communities that we serve, and just a phenomenal group of people that we've been able to bring to the team as team members and employees. Energy was a concept that we had from another company that we own. We were doing some work for the military in base realignment and closure activities from the last round of BRAC, and that's a big event where the military picks up and moves their stuff around the country, and it's an economic incentivizer. The government moves and spends money in new communities and adjusts the mission to meet the global threat. And we were working with Corps of Engineers and saw that there was just a lot of need in the federal space, and then we started looking in the commercial space for energy efficiencies. And so through a lot of research, we chose that LED lighting had matured enough. It was past the bleeding edge. LED lighting was invented back in the 60s, actually 1962, by a General Electric engineer. It was really ready for prime time. About 2010, 2015 range. Yeah, it took that long to mature the technology. So we got involved. Knew a very sharp young man who was a CPA and had a small company that did it, and we integrated him, funded it, brought it forward into the commercial marketplace, and that became ASG Energy. And since then, we've been fortunate to serve around the globe. We've done North America, some South America work, a little bit of European work, historically serving large enterprise really is where we found our niche, was with Fortune 500s, Fortune 100s. We've been blessed to do some Fortune 20 work, helping them achieve mostly an economic decision. We don't add to the top line, but we help improve the bottom line. And the way that we do that is through significant reduction in energy consumption, which means less electricity cost.
And most people don't understand this concept of how dramatic.
Oh, it's big.
So
huge.
So explain to us. Give us an example.
So an example, I'll break it down by light bulb, and then I'll take a look at it from just a customer perspective.
Okay.
So a light bulb, as we drive down the street and we enter into a parking lot, there's those big balls of fire in the air.
Yeah, the street lamps.
Yeah, that light things up. Well, those range from 500 to 1,000 watts of electricity consumption. So traditionally, a 1,000-watt lamp, we can reduce to about 200 watts, so an 80% reduction in electricity consumption. Inside of your building, what historically was a 32-watt, that big old T8 long bulb, looks like a lightsaber from Star Wars.
Yeah.
Yep, exactly. I look up, I see some now. Some of them are working.
Are you going to replace these?
These wow.
What do you have out in your trunk?
These
Just go
really
right ahead.
need some help. Yeah. These,
all of our secrets are revealed. We have lousy lighting.
A typical bulb like that, a 32 watter, will reduce down to somewhere around 10. And we're able to typically delamp from, if we're retrofitting an existing fixture, we'll go from a 3 to 4 lamp setup down to typically 2. And so what we see overall is a 65 to 80% reduction in electricity consumption from enterprise rollouts.
That's big.
That's big, and that's before we put some fancy controls on it.
Right, which is the really cool stuff.
Yeah.
But the soft costs, which are actually big costs as well, right? Is maintenance.
Maintenance, yep.
Huge reduction in maintenance.
No
right?
maintenance. Most of the products now offer a 10-year warranty period, so
that's big.
That's a big deal.
That's big, and especially in the something that I focus a lot on. We've talked about this, is the whole workforce skills gap. I mean, so now those resources, those valuable resources, can be deployed and focused on the line in manufacturing or on other more value-added work versus changing light bulbs or messing with the ballasts. And
we see that where an entire workforce in a large enterprise, and often they're electricians. These are often highly skilled professional people that have a significant cost to the entity.
Yeah, they're highly valuable.
Very valuable.
Yes.
The electrician skill set is highly sought after. There's not enough of these qualified personnel around the country to do the job, and we have them changing light bulbs. So moving into the LED, if you convert your enterprise to LED, that labor force can be redeployed to something that's value add, something that now we see and historically have seen customers, because their staff is saturated with running the facility, they'll hire a vendor to come in and do. Well, now that frees up some time for their own staff to be able to plan more, to be able to help the execution and oversee these other projects that typically would be an additional cost beyond just their own payroll in-house.
Yeah, it's a big value. And the other savings are with safety.
Oh, yeah, that's a big one. Light quality is a big safety. I will say that north of 80% of the customer environments that we have an opportunity to enhance don't meet minimum foot candle requirements for...
What is that?
The
candle wick.
Yeah, right. Yeah. What is a foot candle? What we do is we get out a bunch of candles.
That's such an interesting term.
It's our own little jargon in the industry, right? We've got our own language. It's actually a very universal language that we speak in building design, and it is to establish lighting levels that are appropriate for the task at hand. And so an office space has a certain foot candle recommendation from the international governing bodies of what should be appropriate in an office setting. And what that is designed to do is help us as human beings perform well, help us to perform safely. And so over 80% of our customer environments don't come close to meeting those foot candle requirements. And so what we're able to do is not only achieve the energy savings, help the customer achieve those energy savings, but then improve the operations of their facility, make their facility safe, make their people run better, make the human body function better. We really see a lot of returns in the educational environments where,
And you're doing some really interesting projects in the education space.
Oh, we've been blessed to work with some great school districts. And we see the student enhancement. We've actually had teachers tell us, our children are too alert now.
Too alert.
Our children are they're too alert in the
They're
classroom.
finding flaws in my study plan.
Isn't that something? Well, and the children that have learning disabilities, they, and I don't know the science behind it. I'm not versed in it, but the high-speed flicker that you get from some of the legacy lighting.
Say, you know,
would
I
be
remember
a big
being
distraction, right?
the fluorescent lights
that flicker.
The flicker.
Oh, this one's going to do that sometime this hour.
Okay,
so
it's like the strobe light, right?
Yeah.
We
very distracting.
We've helped, and how we discover this is we get feedback from teachers. We get letters from teachers that say thank you.
That's awesome.
And that's a reward well beyond the anticipated
I saved money.
project.
Yeah,
of this.
improvements.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly.
That's most of these decisions are made based upon a return on investment, cost savings measure,
Yeah.
way to improve or reduce the expense on an ongoing basis. But you get all these other fall off benefits in the enterprise,
Yeah.
and that's rewarding.
Sure it is.
Very rewarding. Our teams, they come in and we're disruptive, generally in this industry. When we come in, we're going to replace all of your lights. Well,
Right.
that means that there's going to be crews coming through your space, and they're going to be changing out fixtures, and they're going to be disrupting your business. Well, by the time they leave, they're getting high fives and thank yous, and man, we love this, and you've improved our life. And it's very rewarding for our program managers and our installation crews. And we typically hire installation crews in the local marketplace, and that helps them to build a bridge of positive relationship with those larger customers.
Right. So back on the whole performance and productivity of the workplace, right? I was having a conversation with one of your other partners, and we were talking about the dark, dismal manufacturing plant.
Oh yeah, it's like a cave.
They're dark and it's depressing. But not only that, it's a safety hazard.
Yep.
It's a huge safety hazard.
Yep.
So how do you go about talk us through the process that ASG Energy takes, because anybody can go out, they can go shop, for LED lighting, and they've got their maintenance crew and they got their electrician crews, and they're like, okay, we bought the LED lights, now go install them. And guess what?
Yep.
They sit over there, right?
Or it was
they collect dust, or they don't know how to do it.
Yeah.
They don't have
Yeah.
time. They're
Yeah.
being pulled. So this is a huge value that you bring to the table.
The LED industry changed the entire ecosystem of lighting. The lighting industry hadn't really changed since it got ramped up in 1880 after Thomas Edison invented the light bulb. It was the same thing. You screw in a light bulb, it emits light. Well, the introduction of LED, which is a solid state technology with a complex engineering behind it and a very complex power supply, they're the same technology that resides in your laptop, they reside in your computers, resides in your cell phone.
It's smart.
It can be smart,
It can be. Yeah.
But the amount of finite tuning that can happen by proper design can really enhance a space. So our typical customer approach is to help them identify and see the value beyond just financial. What is the enhancement to the organization, the enhancement to the operation, and the enhancement to how their people function, as well as safety and protective safety.
Which is a big deal.
It's a big deal. It helps them identify and design a lighting plan that makes sense for what they're going to do, and balance that with the investment. Balance that with the cost and the return on investment that they're going to experience. And it's new. It's a technical sale. It's not a commodity light bulb sale.
I'm going to go on to Amazon or an industrial Amazon. I'm going to do my price comparison, and I'm going to pick LED lights.
A significant percentage of our book of business is redoing lighting that was deployed in that fashion, where customers will go out to the local supplier and just order whatever and put it up, and it doesn't work right, it doesn't function right, it wasn't designed right. We do a lot of rework of that because once it's done right, it's fire and forget. These customers get to put it up, and typically they don't touch it for many years.
And you said a 10-year warranty, typical right?
10-year warranty.
How long and is that when you have to change them out?
No,
10 years?
that's how long the manufacturer will warranty the replacement of that product. So it's like your car.
Okay.
If you have a car with a 30,000 mile warranty, it does not die at 31,000 miles.
Sure.
That's how long that manufacturer has tested that product and feels confident that they're going to have such a low failure rate that product is so well engineered that in that 10-year period they feel they're going to have such a small failure rate that they'll put it on paper and they'll say, I will stand behind this product for 10 years, which means you can replace it at absolutely no cost. If it goes bad, we replace it at no cost.
Well, don't we have 10 years on these?
These
10 seconds?
Yeah, these are special. But so we help our customers identify the path.
I'm just sure the ballast is as old as the building.
I bet they are.
Exactly.
Right. And this facility is blessed to be aged, right?
Sure. So am I.
So a lot of our customers have multiple sites, either around a region, around the country, around the globe. Help them identify a plan that makes sense economically and operationally for a rollout strategy. Help them partner with that. And then perform the rollout, and then help them realize the savings. So help them quantify it and maintain it over the life of the facility.
Soup to nuts.
Yep, absolutely.
Right? Soup to nuts. You help them. You go through. I was very impressed with the whole process, and I can tell it's from working from that background and working with the government and the DOE.
Yeah.
I see a lot of that because there's the analysis, not only financial but all the other factors that are included in there as well.
We approach it from a mission perspective. There is no failure. There is no try. There is only do. You will accomplish the mission.
Yoda.
Yes.
That was Yoda.
You like that? I pulled that one in there.
That was great.
It's at least the second reference to Star Wars. But
Was that the oh yeah, because we got the lightsaber
in there.
earlier. Yeah,
Yes.
my children will be very proud of Dad for
that's
doing that.
good.
We come from a background where the mission is absolutely critical. It's life and death. And so proper planning and program management is critical. And it can be something as simple as a network system in the military goes down, it compromises mission. So we approach that same level of tenacity, planning, when we're deploying light bulbs. So program management plans that are based upon PMP principles, ISO standards, and CMMI, that's in our DNA, and that is rolled out in every single project that we do. So the average ASG Energy project that our customer expects us to accomplish, we see that it takes us about 1/10 of the time to accomplish a project. It's an internal metric for us that a customer needs to realize quickly the value of what they did. So we structure our program plans to be as efficient as possible. We understand we're like fish in the refrigerator. We're really only good for a few days, and then it starts to be bad. So getting out of our customer environment quickly is important to us. And for the customer, that's less of an impact on their operation, and it's an opportunity for them to see immediately the financial results. So for that champion, be it the facilities president or whomever is doing this, it's an opportunity for them to show the executive leadership the results quickly, to continue on their path or to gain the next level of funding or whatever is necessary to continue.
Because as soon as that project starts, you've got the accountant, CFO,
Absolutely.
our background, right?
Yep.
Right there chomping at the bit. Where's the results?
Where's the
savings?
savings?
Yeah.
Where's the savings?
Where's the savings?
Yeah.
You told me. I've given you this money. Where are they?
Yep.
So along those lines, I think that's a great transition. Tell the audience about the team that you've got. Who are the guys and girls that are implementing and managing the projects?
Oh, yeah. So
I mean, this is key.
Well, that's good, but can I peel back to the product where the product started? So we were fortunate as we came aboard as ASG Energy came about in 2013, about 96%, and that's 96% of all LEDs globally were produced in about a 70-mile radius out of the southern tip of China.
Okay.
And there's not a problem with that. That's great. There was a lot of manufacturers there. We decided we wanted to do it as much as we could domestically.
Right.
So we were fortunate to...
And you also had to show for some of the U.S. government, right?
Absolutely.
Made in
Our
USA.
and a lot of our customers, even if they're not U.S. government, desire
to have made in the United States.
A component of that entire value chain through that manufacturing be U.S.
Right.
And so we were fortunate to work with Colorado Correctional Industries and established a program there where we were welcomed like family into Colorado Correctional Industries. We're able to bring initially assembly, eventually testing, and then manufacturing to the industries program. And for us, it was extremely rewarding. We saw so many great experiences on our side, both from the quality of the product, from the level of effort from the individual employee in the industries program. It was a win. And I am one of those guys that stands on top of the mountain and screams, talk to CCI, because if you're a small business in manufacturing, Colorado Correctional Industries is someone that you should know.
That's awesome. And you put in a whole production line.
We did. We put in a full SMT. It is the equivalent of a line that would produce the motherboard in your laptop there. And those inmates were able to and did a fantastic job of learning how to build, learning how to test, learning how to work with those on a consistent and repeatable basis.
Which are transferable skills when they exit out of CCI, which is great.
So when you say Colorado Correctional Industries, is that the correctional institutions have created an industry?
There's an industries
realm.
There is.
How did you refer to that?
It is it is a self-sustaining, and what I mean by self-sustaining is Colorado Correctional Industries, through what they manufacture and what they sell, they fund their organization. And so what their mission is to employ inmates while they're in prison, teach them skills, teach them work habits, so that when they re-enter into the civilian population, they don't come back.
Exactly.
To the prison environment. And the evidence out there of the reduction of coming back is phenomenal. It works.
That's amazing.
And so they do things. It's amazing things that our industries program does.
It really helps to give them a purpose. And a reason
ponder your life there.
Of course.
Right.
You go to work
but making a contribution. I mean, it's just a human.
Otherwise,
human
you
need,
just kind of languish and think, see, I am worthless. Look at me. I've got nothing here. But to be able to contribute and produce something and have a purpose and find out you're really good at something.
Yes, absolutely.
That's huge.
Yeah. And they're phenomenal. Most of our experiences there have been absolutely phenomenal, where somebody made a bad choice doesn't make them a bad person.
Right.
And they perform wonderfully. And we have seen a number of those folks as they leave do very well outside.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So there's a whole production line for your LED.
Which is unique. I mean, that is unique at CCI to have a full production line there versus just assembly.
Sure.
Tests.
Yeah. I will say, though, they've got some very advanced, they're doing some neat stuff.
Are they?
Yeah, they've got some programs there that, and you'll walk by and see stuff, and some of their contracts that they have with their customers are proprietary, but you would be fascinated by the level and the depth and the breadth of the capability that the CCI industry program has.
That's awesome. That's really awesome. Now you're down in Canon City.
I am born and raised and returned to Southern Colorado. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Canyon City.
That's right.
Awesome.
So when you mention our delivery crews,
yes.
Our program managers, the vast majority of them are retired, semi-retired program managers from the Department of Corrections, from the Department of Justice, from the Department of Defense, and each job is treated like a mission. So it's like a deployment and a redeployment that they would have done if they were in the Department of Defense. Sure. And
so when you say it's in the DNA, it literally
it is in their DNA. Yep, and they treat it with great care. And what that affords is we have a broad base set of program managers that can can perform when they want to. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Thanks so much. We're talking with Chris Koehn, Senior Partner at ASG Energy. Stick with us. We have more to talk about when we come back.
Great.
Thanks so much for staying with us here on Connect and Collaborate. We are connecting with Kristen Muzzy with Riveting Connections. She is an advocate for manufacturing here in Colorado and nationwide, and you have a great guest with you today.
I do.
Would you like to reintroduce Chris?
I would. Chris Koehn is the guy that opens up the door sometimes.
Sometimes. Yeah.
For ASG Energy.
Yeah.
Which is a provider, a solution provider in the LED lighting, which has smart technology, which I believe we want to talk about next.
Oh, there's some great stuff there.
Right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, we were just talking on the break that who would have thought that the light bulb could almost become like our smartphone.
Yep.
Not almost.
It is.
It is
and
becoming.
Beyond.
Wow.
And beyond, right? So IoT, everybody's heard about IoT, the Internet of Things. You're actually doing this.
We are.
So tell us about it. Tell us more.
So the concept, we white papered this back when we founded the company in 2013 of lighting is a persistent required by code space in every single facility that it's got power, it has to be above your head, and we've never asked it to do any more other than provide light. So what if we put sensors, and what if we put processors, and what if we put networking against that asset and then asked it to do more? And so that's what ASG Energy has been working on, and
That's
we've got some it's neat stuff, and we got some very, very genius partners out there that have worked and built some things that are absolutely phenomenal. So in our customer environments is where it's really exciting. It's great in a lab, but customer environments matter. Yeah. So customer environments are fantastic, and I'm going to talk about medical because medical is near and dear to my heart. And so, for example, in a medical environment, a hospital, lighting, of course, there's the fancy controls where you can turn it up and you can turn it down. And in certain hospitals and certain environments, deploy lighting that changes color to improve healing environments, recovery environments, things like that. But then the tracking of the patient and the tracking of the medical care provider. And why is that? What do I mean by that? And why is that important?
Yeah,
so,
is this Big Brother?
No, this is not Big Brother. This is in a specific mission field. Adding value. And so in the medical space in particular, where is that patient? Who are the medical professionals around them? How much care have they received, hands-on care, down to where is the EKG machine, to where is the MRI machine? You can tag all of these assets and track them, and that becomes data. That data is important. And in a hospital environment, why is that important? Well, a patient in the ICU, you know where that patient is in the ICU if you track them through one of these type of deployed lighting systems. But then how and who cared for them? You know that this phlebotomist spent so much time with them at this specific time in the day for 13 seconds. You know that this doctor was with them at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and he came back at 6, and he came back at 10.
So that can absolutely improve the quality of care, right? With the data and the intelligence with software and that's
it becomes
awesome.
A business system at that point, adding value. With that same technology deployed in a factory, tracking the assets as they move around, tracking the raw materials, tracking the product, tracking all the things from a where's it at and what's it doing perspective is a cost savings measure. And now we're in this space.
And quality improvement and a safety again.
Yeah,
safety
absolutely,
across the board,
absolutely
critical.
So it's all existing technologies just put into a new wrapper, and we're asking it to perform differently. In just as your cell phone, as you mentioned before, 10 years ago we all had flip phones, and now we might talk on our phone about 10% of the function we expect from them. And so with the Internet of Things, lighting has moved to that level. And when paired with a type of purchasing structure that some of our customers use, lighting as a service, is a subscription model. It's where our customers don't have to use their money or their CapEx to integrate energy savings. ASG Energy can come in and deploy the lighting, and then they buy it in a subscription model. And then these additional services are added on, just like your cable bill. You can get the basic package of light, and then if you want HBO or if you want asset tracking, a little bit more,
We're moving more to that utility model, which frees up cash flow
Absolutely.
for a lot of these organizations. And also you're providing a very valuable service. So as the new apps come out, as
Absolutely.
new technology, you're managing that and you're bringing that to the customers without them having to go out and invest all the resources and get educated on it.
Correct.
So you have a new acronym. There's a new acronym, right? In for you guys, LAAS.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, yeah. Lighting as a service. LAS.
Right.
LAS.
So we have SAS.
We have SAS. We have LAS. And
yeah.
it's you see it in our economy as we move to a consumer that is less focused on owning the long-term asset versus the result and the value gained from the asset. And so what it does is it allows our customers to use that asset, but we, owning larger amounts of it, have the economies of scale. So everybody saves money and everybody wins.
It's a win-win-win.
It's a win-win-win. And you typically, if a customer, and we have a lot of customers, there's nothing wrong with them buying a system and getting a great ROI, having a project come in and pay back in 3 years or 2 years. That's a phenomenal win.
It is.
But when they own it, they own it. Under a lighting as a service, there's the opportunity to upgrade, and it's not a continuous CapEx exercise. It's part of the subscription model.
Right, and it's done right?
Yeah.
It's done right from the get-go, and that's one thing I'll definitely say about your company is that you do it right.
If we can't, we won't do it.
Right. Right.
If we can't deliver to the level that we would want to in our own facilities, we just won't do the job.
That's great.
And
maintain your reputation and the quality for the customer.
You get it once.
Right.
And we don't, in a lighting as a service, I maintain them lighting. It's part of the program. And so if I can't do it right, I don't want a liability in the future. So for me to not have a heavy maintenance effort on a project, I have to do it right. And it's the way we're hard DNA wired. Do it right or don't do it at all.
Right. That's awesome. Lighting, I wonder if I can transition to something that you shared with me. Lighting has a significant impact on you personally.
It does,
right?
Yes.
So share with us a little bit about the mission behind ASG Energy and some of your story.
So our mission is to serve our customers and bring the light.
Bring the light.
Bring the light. Well, the light for us in our hearts means a lot more than the light that just our light bulbs deploy. And I remember where this really hit me like a rock this was shortly after we had integrated ASG Energy, and we were standing in a factory in China looking at this phenomenal new product that was going to change the way that we delivered light in our company. And I was standing there, a good old Southern Colorado boy, grew up farming and ranching, and I'm standing looking out a factory window in China, and I looked up and I asked our Lord, I said, I'm following, but I just don't quite. What am I doing here? What am I doing here?
Yeah, what is exactly this purpose?
Yeah, why specifically am I looking out of a window in Shenzhen, China? And
you're coming from technology services, right?
I'm coming from technology services. I'm coming from mission delivery for our Department of Defense, Army, Navy, and Air Force, ensuring that our war fighters have the networked tools and the medical systems to perform, to save lives, and to get the job done. And now I'm standing in China.
In a manufacturing plant.
In a manufacturing plant where you have first world, third world mashup. I look out and there's shoulder-to-shoulder traffic on dirt sidewalks with rickshaws and an asphalt road next to it with BMWs. And it's just something that we don't see every day here in the United States, and I'm just shaking my head, and the big booming intercom voice cuts into my head and says, "Come on, Chris, I know you're not real bright, but I put you in a lighting business, and I, your Lord and Maker, am the light. So." Can you put those two together for me? I mean, I can't line it up any simpler than that. And so
that is clarity.
That was clarity. It was super clarity.
Wonderful.
And ASG, the name stands for Always Serving God.
I love that.
And
But it didn't start out that way,
No,
right?
it didn't start out that way. It was a fall off from the federal contracting group, Abacus Solutions Group,
Okay.
ASG. And he revealed that name to us, and it came from that conversation of, hey, gosh dang it, would you just pick up and do what I'm asking you to do? Well, I'm in the middle of China, and when he reveals this, and I knew I was following what he'd asked for. I had grown very weary supporting Abacus at a point, and I was ready for something new. And he brought this forward, and within a very short time, we owned it. And then I was in China, and that was a focus. And I'm a guy, so I've got to have a focus. I have to have a target. I've got to have where I'm going in mind.
Yeah, you guys don't
Yeah.
multitask. You're not picking the berries.
We are not. We are not as sharp as the lady sitting across the table for us. We're like very task oriented. You give us that, we'll pick it up and we'll move it over here, and then we'll set it down. And so
Now what should I do next?
Right, exactly. That's why we all end up with wives that are far more intelligent, far more beautiful than we are. And so bringing the light, and what I discovered through that was we were entering into Fortune 500 spaces. One of our very first customers was a Fortune 7.
Wow.
And we were a brand new startup. We should have never had customers like that. Well, we discovered we weren't kicking those doors open. There was a divine push on that.
That's beautiful.
And so our workforce and then our customers are an opportunity for us to share the light. We're literally putting in lights and try to do it in a way that, like Mother Teresa said, share the gospel, and if you must, use words. And we've had so many opportunities to communicate about that light with our customers, with employees, with subcontractors, and that's what drives us. That's what gets us up in the morning is serving the big guy upstairs and the mission that he's put on our hearts.
That's beautiful. And even on your website, you have, which is really unique in today's day and age, is you actually have a faith page, ASG faith page.
Well, it's a core tenet of our business.
Because it's core.
It
You're
is
not
core.
just talking about it. It's actually there. And I commend you for that. That's really beautiful.
You'll show up to an Abacus meeting, and the meetings start in prayer. We try to focus all of our decisions. It's not always about the dollar. It's about doing what's right.
It's doing what's right.
Serve others. Serve others to the best of your ability. Serve the customer. Serve the employee. Serve your partners. And the profit is a natural product of that.
Sure.
So treat your brother as you want to be treated. And if you come into an Abacus office on a Monday morning, and you'll sit down in meetings, and those meetings often and generally start with prayer, and it focuses your heart on doing good.
Yeah.
The intention of the heart is so important, we found, for leadership, for us leading those in the company, and then leading those that work for the company.
Yeah.
If everybody comes to it with a heart that is of the light, it changes every conversation.
Yeah. That's amazing.
We've been blessed. We have been very blessed, and we try to carry that. Now, I will say that we mess up like everybody else does. We make mistakes.
Sure, we all make mistakes, but it's how you respond to them, right?
Yeah.
It's and I would imagine that you have some stories that it's how you respond to them, and I'll bet you've kept those relationships.
Oh, absolutely. It's not.
Right.
You're not measured by how you succeed, right?
No,
It's when the going gets tough.
it's how you respond. So, Chris, thanks for sharing that, because that's really
That's a big
awesome.
deal for us.
That's core. That's
Yeah.
at the heart. That's what creates everything else, right? But can you share one of the success stories? Like you won, ASG Energy won last year by its Efficiency Works, which is in Colorado, northern Colorado, right? And you won the largest energy efficient project.
We were very surprised that Efficiency Works is a group that is a combination of many of the Northern Colorado power companies.
Okay.
They banded together and created Efficiency Works in ways to improve the energy profile of their portfolio, and their portfolio being their customer environments, so
Okay.
commercial and residential. And so we found out towards the end of last year that ASG Energy had performed the largest energy project in Northern Colorado.
and we received a wonderful award, and it was a pleasure to serve that customer. Our customer was Hewlett Packard
Congratulations.
in Fort Collins.
That's
and
fantastic.
They did a great project, a phenomenal project up there, and they deployed some very centric controls that allow them to do things with their lighting where they're really honestly in the 80 to 90% energy savings from where they were in their lighting package with those controls. What we see in those controls, those new controls, and what made this such a big deal for them was, so we were able to reduce their energy consumption by 60 to 70% through,
which is huge.
Through the LED, which is a big deal. Yeah, that's a big deal. But then
for the amount of square footage that we're talking about, that's massive.
This is big, a big space. And then they were able to save about another 50% through these controls. So
through the smart controls.
Yeah.
Is it for asset tracking and?
No, this one's just this is just controls. These are highly technical people that we were just focused on the control side.
Okay.
Most of the industry right now is focused on the smart controls. And by the smart controls, what can you do to control the light? What can you do to talk to the building management system? What can you do to improve the building envelope? And you'll see deployments in that for the next 10 years. The information or the Internet of Things is the layer beyond that that integrates I want my lights to do more than just respond to user stimulate. I want them to move network traffic. I want them to stimulate either other sensors to function or other equipment to function. I want them to respond to scenarios. For example, this is a system that we've not been able to deploy, but we are working on is using these same systems for active shooter environments where
interesting.
When you integrate different sensors and equipment to be able to hear and see environments and then control the environment based upon what's going on. And so
what would that look like?
So it'd look like this fixture, basically, but it would have sensors in it that would hear and see. Oh. And then be able to talk to other network attached devices.
When you say see, is it
cameras.
Actually a camera?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
And they would initiate when
they'd hear a pop. And it would register, hey, that's an unknown set. That's a sound that we've identified that could be a threat.
It could send an emergency 911
As these
call.
Systems develop, they will evolve to where they will be able to communicate back to a facility manager and say, hey, we've got a problem, will you look?
That's fascinating.
Be able to see the problem and then alert outside response units, police, etc. But then also control the scenario. There are IP-controlled lock systems now. So that system could talk to the locks that say, hey, lock. That system could talk to the lights outside of that room and say, strobe to an exit.
Isn't that incredible?
We're not that far away from this in the industry. These are things that are coming and coming very quickly.
That's fascinating.
That's where we're asking more of the lights to improve and enhance our life.
Well, you look how fast the flip phone went to a smartphone. You look at what it does today. It's more powerful than my first laptop, even my second laptop, my third laptop. But yeah, it's incredible. So when you first go in and let's say that you have a client that is doing like what Hewlett Packard did with the control systems, okay? Are you able to at a later date add the smart technology into that, or is that a totally different
a deployment?
LED? Yeah.
So let me answer that in a couple ways.
Okay.
Depends. The major focus area is what is the desire of the customer. Everything is about the customer, taking care of that customer's environment. Right. And so what do they desire out of the project? Is it exclusively economic decision based? And if it's exclusively an economic decision, well then the solution is constructed in a way that gives them the absolute most energy savings at the absolute lowest cost.
Okay.
Well, that will preclude some of these other advanced systems from being bolted in at that time.
Okay.
Now, they can always come out and be redeployed. But if they are interested in...
But it's not a rip and replace, though.
No, it's not a rip and replace.
But it's adding on. It's an upgrade.
Well, yes, it depends upon how they structure it. That's why we want to invest so intently with our customers to learn what is it you're doing today, what it is that you want to do tomorrow.
I see.
This is not a light bulb buy. It's like buying your next ERP in your manufacturing facility. You better have an idea of what your business plan is so you make the right decision.
Sure.
Because it can really impact your profitability, how you do business. That ERP can make or break you,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
These,
Absolutely.
So for the uninitiated like me, ERP, please.
Enterprise Resource Planning System.
Thank you.
It's
Yeah.
your the accounting system, SAP, Oracle.
Well, I figured it went somewhere there, but I just like to lay it out for the people who don't know all the
good.
acronyms.
Absolutely.
Right,
Absolutely
I
good.
apologize.
Thanks.
That's
I'm
quite
a
all right.
recovering
That's my job.
accountant,
I know,
so
I
you
am
got to
too.
keep that in mind.
I am too.
But the systems are designed with the same level. They can be designed with the same level of intensity, with purpose,
Okay.
as you would any sort of technology deployment. It is not just a light bulb anymore.
Right. That's amazing. So for people that are listening, what's the they have an interest.
What's the approach?
Yeah. What's the approach?
So look up, if it's old like these, ponder, is there a better way to do this? And there are a
We
number
could
of
connect you with somebody to.
there's a number of vendors or partners and different companies across the country that do what we do. We feel that we do it well. A web search will reveal in your region folks that do this. ASG Energy, we do it coast to coast.
Which is www.asg
ASGEnergyLLC.com. I'll say that again. ASGEnergyLLC.com is our website.
And we'll have a link attached to this.
Thank you.
show.
So if you reach out to us, you'll encounter someone from our marketing team that will help you identify the discussion,
Okay.
help collect certain pieces of data to move it along for your benefit, so you don't spend time that you're not ready to spend. And then when you reach a point of this is a conversation, then you'll sit down with one of our experts who will help you walk the path of where am I today, where do I want to go, what are my objectives, what do I have, what would I like to have, both light output and functionality, and build that path and evaluate that against the economics. What does it do for you? Does this improve my economics in my company? Does this enhance my EBITDA if I'm a for-profit, or if I'm an entity that an investing firm, if I'm private equity buying companies?
Sure.
Can I improve the EBITDA of my investment? Am I a school district? Do I want to enhance the learning environment and save money? Am I a medical environment where I want to improve patient care, etc.? They'll help identify that path, establish a way forward, and deploy. It's not a multi-year build out. Our average rollout for ASG Energy for hundreds and hundreds of thousands square feet is under 45 days.
That's amazing.
We move quickly.
You get in.
We get in, we get out.
You're the fish in the refrigerators.
We stack vertically
right?
versus
In-and-out.
horizontally.
Yeah.
And that allows our customer to save money. We don't have the sustainment cost of a long-term deployment,
Okay. All right.
which allows us to offer a better price to our customer.
Interesting. So what are some of the initiators, okay, besides just looking up, and my lighting is really, really old, especially for, the manufacturing base, hospitals around here. What are some of who should be looking at this? Facility managers, for sure.
If you are a commercial or a government enterprise that has light bulbs and you have not addressed
You
this,
should call.
it is
Seriously.
that compelling of a financial decision to look at it now. And if you looked at it 5 years ago, the industry has changed enough, prices have changed enough, the technology's changed enough. It is a new look today.
You've got some great case studies out there, and some of the payback periods are.
Oh, we see stuff from under a year.
I saw some of those.
Yeah,
that's incredible, and we're talking significant energy savings.
Our average enterprise rollout, most of our corporate customers are either under 2 years or under a 3-year hurdle, depending upon the technologies that they're looking for, and that's total return on investment.
That's amazing, and there's not very many projects out there, especially when you're talking about some capital investment that has that quick of a payback. I'll bet the accountants, your ex-accountant buddies, they love
it.
you.
They do. They love it. So when it typically enters finance, we speak finance, and they love it.
Yeah, because it's a great quick turnaround.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much, Chris, for being
Thank you
here.
for having us. It's been a pleasure.
Oh, look, did you see
Hey, we
it
got the
flicker?
flicker.
I told you.
We got the
It's-
flicker.
We got the strobe.
Always
We
at
got
the end of the
flicker.
hour.
So, again, www.asgenergyllc.com.
Thank you, Kristen.
Thank you very much,
Thanks so
Chris.
much for listening.